Lewis Dunk enters through a door which is opened by his fingerprints. And if any player has Brighton in his DNA, it is the local boy who rose through the ranks and through the divisions with the Seagulls. Lewis Dunk has seen Brighton transform since his youth team days and will play his 200th game against Manchester United. The club's training ground in the sleepy Sussex of Lancing is a state-of-the-art facility with fingerprint recognition technology on the doors. Not like when Dunk joined Brighton as a 10-year-old. The centre-half, now 26, are recalled we used to train once a week at Worthing Leisure Centre. It was astroturf, but not like these new astroturf, the old sandy ones you cut your knees on. Defender Lewis Dunk says playing for England would be the next step for him. Son man Dan King chats to Brighton Hove Albion stalwart Lewis Dunk. It was a million miles from this. Brighton, then in League One, were a million miles from the Premier League. The King's Speech Eric Cantona is a fan of Jose Mourinho, but the Manchester United legend would rather Pep Guardiola. In fact, they were a step down for Dunk, who had been on the books of second-tier Wimbledon until they moved to Milton Keynes. Memories are hazy and Dunk is matter-of-fact about the situation. He said, "At that age you can't travel over a certain amount of time to get to training. So I had no choice. They wanted to keep me on and I wanted to stay. But I had to leave there." Martin Hinchelwood was Brighton's head of youth at the time and he rang my dad to say he wanted to sign me. I snapped up the chance. I don't know if there were tears, but I think my dad was a bit happy because he didn't have to drive me hours to training. It was only 10 minutes. Dad Mark, who was on Southampton's books at youth level, is a die-hard Albion fan who used to sneak into the Goldstone ground as a young Lewis soon found himself fighting for the club on the pitch and off it, too. Brighton fans mob Lewis Dunk and co. following promotion to the Premier League. Full Saturday Premier League preview including Manchester United v Brighton and Liverpool v Chelsea. After squatting at Gillingham, Brighton pitched up at the Youthteam Stadium and then fought a long battle to build a new stadium at Farmer. Dunk, who makes his 200th Brighton appearance against United today, was among thousands marching through the streets of Brighton during the 2004 and 2005 Labour Party conferences. The aim was to put pressure on then Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott to give the scheme the green light, which he finally did in October 2005, paving the way for what is now the Amex Stadium. Lewis Dunk has settled in comfortably to life at the top level of English football. Dunk, who was already a regular supporter at the Youthteam with his youth teammates, added, "I was still quite young, but I remember walking with our banners and singing to get the stadium. It's unbelievable how far the club has come, from nearly falling out of the Football League to be in one of the biggest leagues in the world." Today's trip to Old Trafford is sure to be one highlight for Brighton fans reveling in the club's first Premier League season. And Chelsea fan Dunk is looking forward to crossing swords with Manchester United boss Jose Mourinho. He said, "What Jose did for Chelsea was unbelievable. I celebrated everything he won." Lewis Dunk was out on the streets as a youth team player fighting for Brighton to get permission to move to a new venue. "I watched John Terry from a young age, too, and wanted to be him. I used to pretend to be him in the park with my mates. I tried to base my game around him. He loves defending, he likes to play, too, but didn't mind shoving his body in the way of a shot and getting hurt." Dunk has come a long way, too. Many pundits believe Lewis Dunk is unlucky to have missed out on England's selection so far. One highlight of his career was an FA Youth Cup game in 2010 when the opposition included current centre-back partner Shane Duffy. He says, "It was when he was at Everton and Gus Poyet was the manager here. I had a good game and later that season one made my debut at MK Dons. That was the big turning point in my career." Dunk has never represented England at any level despite one call-up to the under-21s. Brighton star Bruno signs up with Juan Mata's Common Goal campaign. Brighton fans were not the only ones wondering if he should be part of the experimental squads Gareth Southgate picked for 2 friendlies against Germany and Brazil earlier this month. But Dunk has learned to be patient. He added, "I've got to prove to everyone in the England camp that I'm good enough to play for England." I played in the Championship for however many years and finally earned my way to be a Premier League player. The next step is to become an international. Hopefully I'll make it one day. To make it with Brighton would be extra special. Dunk said, I had 2 games on loan with Bristol City, but I've always been in this environment, so I've known no different. I've built up such a love for the club, for everyone here in the whole city. If it comes to it that I have to move on one day, it will be a tough one. Keep up to date with all the transfer news and gossip on our blog.